So hello once again and well done for working your way up to this point. But now we're going to continue and get to the motor house where we'll be working in more extensive and full detail and discuss the modeling of this part because the rest of it is pretty much the same, but we have lots of details in the motor house or the pump house, as you may say. For example, the pump boosters, as you can see, two of them over here, which are used for fire extinction, and they have two water reserves. But now we're going to continue our work and go to the plan. Let me open up the HVAC plans and then open up this level, the minus 21. All right, and now in this plan, we'll need to change the elevation points and the offsets of different parts. So we'll open up the view range. Here, put the top on associated level and the offset on 2.1. Now 1.2 is okay for the middle range and we'll hit OK. And the part associated with the changes is supposed to be here on the right. So now we can see a duct go through here, which is a bug. So I'll select this bit and then I'll hit a section box. And this is a great case of how much modeling can help performance. Now I'll bring this down, and another important point that we have is, well, let's see if the mistake was on our part or was it the architectural plan. So I'll open up the architecture and then we go to the underground plans. So here we have the flooring and the plan of the suspended ceiling. Now if you see here, it says the suspended ceiling and the canaf leaf plaster channel. This is in a height of 2.1 and it's highlighted with this color, and we can see it here in the plan. So the plan has suspended ceilings done in the motor house, but usually we don't use any suspended ceilings in a space like this. So we'll need to delete this. So pay note to mistakes like these, which may have happened in the architectural design, and we'll need to resolve them in this stage. So in order to resolve this issue, let's see in the architectural plan and the 3D, let's rotate this and then increase the height. We'll need to select the suspended ceiling and then delete it. So in order to do that, I'll right click on the architecture file and hit open and unload. Okay here, and then I'll delete the suspended ceiling in the motor house section. Alright, so after this opens up, I'll go to the underground plans. Here I'll select the joinery of this area and get a section box of it. Alright, so then we can go into the plan and rotate it and zoom in to see what exactly we're dealing with. Now this interesting event can provide some experience for you while in the process of solving it. When you're working with your own projects and you spot any motor houses or any structures similar, if you see in the plans of the AutoCAD file some suspended ceiling structures reserved for these spaces, first you need to question the designer whether this is actually true and we need suspended ceilings in these areas, and 99% of the time it is not actually needed and you'll need to delete the suspended ceiling. So I'll start erasing the details of the suspended ceiling. Alright, so after erasing these, let's go to the top view. Alright, then down here I'll click on the select face option and check this to unactivate it, and then we go up here and grab this and select all of the suspended ceiling. Alright, then we can isolate the element, which looks like this, from the different views. Alright, then we go to the left and select this bit at the top. After that, we'll open up the filters menu where we have the generic model and the structural connections. I'll select both of them and hit OK. And then I'll isolate this new element. And alright, so the ones right here are the generic models. And these ones are the structural connections. Alright, so I'll select these once again and then delete them. Then click on reset from down here. And we'll check to see if everything's well done. I'll increase the depth and it's fine for now, so we'll leave the section box. Then we'll save our file. We just have to wait for the command to be confirmed. And after we've saved it, I'll close the 3D view and the underground plans as well. This window too. And then here in our main plan, I'll right click and hit reload. Alright, then we'll just have to wait for the file to be reloaded. So this same dock that goes through this pathway right here, let me open up the 3D view and zoom in here. This same duct has a bug itself and it actually needs to be fixed. But for now, there are a couple of ways we can go about this. And these are all based on the consultation and teamwork that you have with the designer of the mechanical parts. Now, one of the ways is if you look at the duct that we have from this angle, we have a lot of space above it and we have the beam on the side. We can increase the width of the duct from this side so that this part comes up and goes over here and then comes back over here, so that the same structure that we have here will be repeated. Or we can change the pathway of the duct itself, and the final decision will be upon you and the mechanical designer. Go back here and hit WT. Now the first thing that we need to do here is locating the placement of the detailing of the motor house. We have 3 of these up here and then 2 more down here, and then we have the source to the side, and there needs to be a riser present as well because we can't work without it. Let's see right here. So let's see where the detailing for the riser itself is located. It's not here, but it needs to be somewhere. It's over here in the detailing of the pump house. Let's see. Yeah, right here. The 2 on this side and the 3 on this side. And all of these are connected each to a source, which is called the expansion tank. And also we have the collector here as well, and the one-sided pipes, and so on. So our first job is locating the placement. But finally, before getting to locating, I'll remind you once more that I've placed the families inside of the families folder for you, and you can access them from the files folder here. Let me open it up. Under the mechanical folder, we have a part called the mechanical room where I've placed the families for you to access. Let me just copy this file path. And the important point that I wanted to mention, as you can see here, we have the booster pump and the tank itself and the expansion tanks as well. Now the brands that are used in making these models are important. The brands and the dimensions, both are important. A lot of the times during the process of the design itself, the brand isn't known yet. And it's not specified yet from which company the, for example, chiller or the pump or the tank are going to be bought from. It's possible that different companies use different specifications based on their own thoughts, and in a lot of the cases, the shapes are custom. They'll make the piece based on your own project. And I'm sure those of you who are mechanics understand this part better than the rest of us, and they have a wider range of knowledge in this area. But my point from all of this talk is that when you're trying to locate the shapes and the devices, and the brand that's going to be used isn't specified yet, you should try to choose the biggest family that's used in the making of the model. Or even if you're not choosing the largest one, try to choose one that's standard so you don't run into any issues later on in the performance parts, because you're going to have to assess the clashes and try to resolve them. So if you try to choose a family that's small or normal, and then if you run into any issues later on, it might be because the dimensions just can't add up and you run into more issues. And so in the modeling stages, when you're trying to choose the families, try to pick one that's the largest or at least a proper size, so that you resolve the issues based on this difficulty. And if later on you get to the performance stage and it's the same size, then it's great, the clashes resolve already. But if the clashes happen because the families used are even smaller, that's even better, because it's easier to get rid of the clashes and you have